Hello and welcome everyone, this is Player13FOC bringing you the patch notes for version 0.3 of the Heroes of Gaming beta. This video will cover all major gameplay changes, but for a complete list of changes you can peek at the Quest tab in-game. 0.3 brought several new items, a brand new hero, and significant balance and gameplay changes to the game. Starting with probably the most interesting addition to the map is the new hero, Micaiah the Light Priestess. At level 1, Micaiah starts with two spells, Recover and Corona. Recover is a fairly basic heal spell. It heals a target ally for a base of 100 and an additional 50 times the level of Micaiah, capping off at a total of 2,600. Corona creates a burst of light magic in a target location, dealing damage and significantly lowering the armor of all enemies in the area, thus making enemies squishier and granting your carry increased farming speed. Micaiah's third spell, Nosferatu, drains the life of target enemy, heavily slowing the target, dealing damage over time based on Micaiah's agility, and healing nearby allies for 50% of the damage dealt. Micaiah's fourth spell, Thani, drops an orb of light magic in the targeted area, dealing damage based on her agility and stunning all enemies in the area for 3 to 5 seconds depending on the level of the spell. Next on our list, we have several balance changes for existing heroes. As 0.2 was the first time full games were played, it became quite clear which heroes were a bit overwhelming and which were a bit lacking the punch that they were meant to have. Tassadar and Pikachu are most notable of these heroes, feeling largely unbeatable and having next to no downside or counter. Tassadar was made with the illusion-based heroes from FOC in mind, but due to the stat acceleration being much faster in Heroes of Gaming and his clones being ranged rather than melee, he simply farmed far too quickly. To help mitigate this problem, his illusion duration has been reduced from 15 to 12 seconds, his illusion damage has been reduced from 0.5 to 0.4 of his damage, as well as his Psyblast damage in area being reduced slightly. While Pikachu didn't feel nearly as overwhelming as Tassadar, he still felt a tad too strong in the late game and as such has had his damage on Spark reduced to no longer scale per level and now simply does 3 times his agility at all levels. On the opposite end of the spectrum, Link felt largely useless, especially compared to the two other currently imbalanced carries, Tassadar and Pikachu, and as such has gotten buffs in nearly every area. Link's Jump Slash has had its stun duration increased from 1 second to 1.5 seconds, his bomb now detonates after 2.5 seconds instead of 3 seconds, and his spin attack is now acquired at level 8 instead of level 10. Link's Fierce Deity form now lasts a bit longer, increases his attack speed by a bit more, and increases his base damage by 500. Link's Cucco was a bit too easy to burst down, especially after tanking any real number of hits from Wyverns, and as such has had his HP increased by 1,500 at all levels. Link's Cucco has also had its damage against creeps increased to 1.3 times its original damage. This is simply to equalize the amount of farm you get after the buff to Wyverns and Soldiers coming in this version. More about that in a moment. Venomancer has had his Venom Nova damage increased by 1,000 at all levels, again just to keep his farm consistent with previous versions with the new creep buff. Several changes have been made to the neutral creeps in version 0.3 to alter the pacing of the game a bit. Probably the most notable of these changes was the increased HP regen of Heartless Wyverns from 50 HP per second to 100 per second, and armor increased from 75 to 100. The reasoning behind this is simply that they were a bit easier to lower with basic spells and ranged attacks than intended, leading to some silly situations. The bosses, as a whole, felt a bit irrelevant, as such had their gold increase raised significantly in order to make it more of an objective. 0.3 has brought a few new items and a new shop with the intent of increasing diversity of options for caster-style heroes. There are 2 new items, Amplifying Tome and Needlessly Large Rod, with Battle Staff being renamed to Blasting Wand. These items will act similarly to the other basic items with 3 tiers, but increase your hero's non-primary stat. In addition to these new basic items, 2 new combination items have been added, Cleric Scepter and Voodoo Staff. Cleric Scepter is a combination of Blasting Wand, Strength Bracer, and a Tier 1 recipe. The item grants significant non-primary stat and strength, in addition to its active, allowing you to heal a target for 30% of their maximum HP. Voodoo Staff is the agility counterpart to Cleric Scepter, allowing you to hex all enemies in the target area and destroy all illusions instantly. In addition to these new items, the current magic resistance items have all had their magic resistance increased by 5%, as well as Shield of Mage's Bane having its magic immunity effect increased from 3 seconds to 5 seconds. Lastly, in 0.3, we have a few general gameplay changes. Gold from hero kills has been reduced from 500 plus 50 times the level of the killed hero to 500 plus 30 times the level of the killed hero, as gold gained from killing 2 to 3 heroes felt a tad insane. The death timer has been increased from 5 seconds to 8 seconds to make pushing the enemy team's space tower a bit more practical. All towers now have the base magic resistance of a hero to make Pikachu's Spark as well as future tower damaging spells a tad less extreme. And finally, Spirit Towers now give vision to both teams until they are taken for the first time in order to allow teams to contest towers in early Stalker Farm. That about wraps up the patch notes for this version. Thanks everyone for watching, and feel free to subscribe for more information on the newest versions of Heroes of Gaming, and until next time, peace.